Angela, you're doing great. We've covered so many things already in driving. We've worked on turns in traffic, lane changes, we've worked on various parking maneuvers, perpendicular, parallel, diagonal, hill parking. We've talked about defensive driving, backing up straight. You know, all these maneuvers, all the things that we're doing really comes down to doing three things to become a safe driver. Number one, you want to have good control of your car. The technique of hand over hand that we've been practicing with the small movements, this was designed to help you have optimum control of steering, the way you accelerate and brake to control your speed. The second thing that we want to have in driving is the ability to recognize the traffic rule. That is to pay attention to signs, signals, road markings, to be able to make good decisions based on the information. And when you did the running commentary, remember we were talking about looking at signs, speed limit signs. And the third area of driving is understanding what you're seeing in the traffic environment. In other words, making good decisions. And you're able to acquire that information by moving your eyes, scanning, checking your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds, looking left and right at every intersection. You know, when you take your drive test, which is coming up very soon, that's what they're looking for. The ability to control the car, follow the traffic rules, and to move your eyes properly. Specifically, this is what the drive tests will entail. You'll make 4 left turns and 4 right turns. When you make a turn, you're making a turn at the intersection. So when you come to the intersection, of course, you want to check both ways. Check your mirror. When you finish a turn, you check your mirror. Check your mirror because you want to know what's going on behind you. You'll drive through 16 intersections, 8 of which you do not have to stop. We call those through intersections. Now, just because you don't have to stop doesn't mean you don't have to look. So when you're driving through an intersection where you don't have to stop, make sure that you look both ways. Now, when you look both ways, it's not just a matter of looking with your eyes. Remember, the examiner can't see your eyes moving. When you're approaching that intersection, you want to move your head, okay? All right. Now, when you're going through an intersection where you actually have to stop, it's very important to check your mirror because when you reduce your speed, you want to make sure that you know what's going on behind you. Also on the drive test, they'll have you make a couple lane changes, a left lane change and a right lane change. Everything that we practice on the lane change applies to the test, obviously. Checking your mirror, signaling, looking over your shoulder, having good control of the car when you do it. You'll make, you'll drive through a business area for about 3 or 4 blocks, at which time the examiner is observing whether you're scanning and keeping proper lane space in the space in your lane and proper distance between you and the vehicle that's in front of you. You'll drive through a residential area, same thing. During the drive test, they start off with a pre-drive checklist. Examiner will ask you various parts of the car that we talked about earlier. We'll go through that in a moment. After the pre-drive, the examiner will then get into the car and then you'll begin. Now, at the San Francisco DMV, where most of my students take their tests and where you have your test coming up next week, they start off by having you back up in the parking lot, doing a backup maneuver, which we're going to do in a little bit. And then after the backup maneuver, you'll drive out the driveway, and then the test will, continue for the next 10 or 15 minutes where you'll do the turns, go through the intersections, and then when you return back to the DMV, you park into a parking place, test is over. Now in San Francisco, if you're taking a regular drive test, it does not include driving on the freeway, nor does it include parallel parking. A lot of people think that it has parallel parking, but it doesn't. We're going to get a chance to practice the actual drive test. We'll do a simulated drive test so you get an idea of what the test feels like. Will that sound okay to you?
That sounds great.
All right, good. So we'll get to it right now.